She was mom to me. I said goodbye to my birth mom 3.5 years ago, and when I made that decision, Sharon said, "Don't worry, you have two moms on the South Side that love you very much."
Yeah, so Sharon, I think, is part of the reason I was able to come out as a young person. Sharon was also, this might sound silly, but Sharon was one of the first out and proud queer women that I encountered and worked with. And that was really meaningful to me, not only because she did incredible advocacy work, but because she was an older person. At the time, I couldn't conceive of living past 18 as a queer person, much less living a full and beautiful and happy life like she did. And so that was meaningful to me because it really made me believe that I could make it and I could continue this advocacy work into adulthood. So she was really a blueprint.
The one statement that I said, I think is probably the words I've said the most to her, is, what are we gonna do, right? What are we gonna do? And I think I've asked her that question, and I don't mean what are we gonna do without her, but that's what I said to her all the time. But I don't know that anybody has been more universally responsible for my marriage, my children, my healthcare, my everything than Sharon.
When I think about my personal experience and how she influenced my advocacy, I think of all of the other, all of the other queer youth that were in those rooms with me that now I stay in touch with that are doing incredible things, right? So it's not just her influence on me or any of the other One Iowa staff, but it's also her influence on so many LGBTQ youth that made it to where they are today because they knew they had a safe person in Sharon. And I think that effect is immeasurable.
But, marriage is not what it was when it happened, because things have changed since then. And so less about marriage and more about when and how it happened for this state. That it maybe awoke some senses of not only the people that live here in Iowa, but people across this country that, stopped for a second that day and went, wait, Iowa did what? And it really put us on the map in a pretty cool way. Some of the most important things are for us to be there and to be there for each other and to do what we can to impact and demand change. But we have to do it in a way that we're representing one another in a selfless way.
One of the best descriptions that I had heard in the days following was her best friend Jean said she was more, right? She was more than her work with One Iowa. She was more than just an attorney. She was more than an editor. She was more than a friend. She was mom.
It's truly my honor to know her and to do what I can to continue to carry on who she is and what she stood for. It's certainly not something that's on my shoulders alone. I believe that work is getting spread across hundreds, if not thousands of us. And I am just glad that I took the time that I did a long while ago to establish a meaningful connection with her. I never thought it would be over now. It just was a surprise. It doesn't quite seem real.